"We're not driving 2 hours for your rented condo," Mom texted. "We'll be at your sister's party. Hers is a real milestone." I didn't argue. But they didn't know my condo was a $5.2 million modern estate featured on national TV. When the episode aired, they couldn't stop calling. Behind me, 3 people were adjusting lights over a glass staircase worth more than my parents' entire street. A makeup the artist dabbed powder on my face. A drone buzzed outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, capturing the infinity pool that spilled toward the city skyline. "Everything good?" our producer Logan asked. He was a white guy in his late 30s, headset crooked, clipboard in hand, always in a mild state of panic. "Yeah," I said, swallowing the sting. "Family drama, nothing new." He smirked. "Channel it. America loves a host with feelings." Host. My parents still thought I was staging apartments for online listings and renting a condo with roommates. They had no clue I was the co-designer and on-camera host for a national home show that filmed luxury properties for millions of viewers. And they definitely had no idea this little condo they refused to visit was actually a $5.2 million modern estate I owned. "Positions," Logan called, and I turned away from my phone and walked toward the entryway. Huge pivot door, cedar slats, black steel framing, skylight above. The house looked like it had been ripped out of some glossy magazine and dropped on a quiet hill overlooking the city. "Okay, Ava," the main cameraman, Chris, called out. "We'll start with you opening the door, giving the intro, then walking toward the living room." Energy high. "Yeah, you want energy?" I said, slipping the phone into my back pocket. "I've got plenty." I pulled the door open, pasted on my best confident smile, and the red light on the camera went solid. "Welcome back to Dream Estates," I said, my voice smooth but alive. "I'm Ava Reynolds, and today I'm taking you inside one of the boldest modern homes in the entire state right here in Ridgeview Hills." I moved down the hallway, heels clicking on polished concrete. 5 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, a glass bridge, and views that make you forget your own name. I continued, sweeping my arm toward the open living area. And here's the fun part. This one isn't just a feature, it's personal. Logan gave me a thumbs up from behind the monitor. "We cut." "Nice," he said. "One more take." Slightly slower on the personal line. "Let the audience feel that, no problem." As the crew adjusted lenses and cables, I stepped aside near the kitchen island, running my fingers over the waterfall marble. When I'd first seen this place framed out, nothing but steel, raw concrete, and potential. I was just the junior designer nobody listened to. "You're thinking too big, Ava," the senior architect had told me 2 years ago. "These clients want safety, not boldness." Safe. That word followed me my whole life. Safe choices. Safe job, safe town, safe expectations. Why can't you be more like your sister? My mom once said at Thanksgiving, smiling over at my older sister, Brianna, while she talked about her engagement and her new build in the suburbs. "She's steady. You're always chasing, I don't know, ideas." Ideas. Ideas were the reason I stood in a multi-million-dollar estate with 3 cameras waiting for me to speak. I pulled my phone out again. The messages had continued. "Your sister's engagement party is a once-in-a-lifetime moment, Ava. You can't expect us to skip that just to see some rental you'll move out of in a year." Rental? I almost laughed. My name was on every document for this property. Deed, design credits, and the production agreement with the network. This house wasn't just mine. It was my biggest risk, my biggest crazy idea, and it was about to be broadcast across the country next weekend. Prime time. I typed slowly. "That's okay, Mom, I understand. Have fun at Brianna's party." My thumb hovered over the send button. I could have told her everything. I could have texted a picture of the pool, the theater room, the primary suite with the floating fireplace they drool over. I could have written, "It's not a condo. It's my $5.2 million estate, and you'll see it on national TV." Instead, I hit send on the simple reply. I didn't need them to clap at the ground level. They could watch from the cheap seats. "Ava," Logan called. "Ready for the kitchen walkthrough?" "Ready." We ran the intro again. Same lines, but this time I let that ache in my chest color my smile just a little. The camera loved it. We moved through the house in segments. Kitchen, living room, the cantilevered office that looked like it was floating in the air. "And this is where I work when I'm not on set," I said in one take, leaning against the sleek oak desk. Logan chuckled. "Flex on them, why don't you?" Just being honest, I replied. Honestly, this office had seen me crying over budgets at 2 o'clock a.m., revising blueprints when the city inspectors wanted changes, and nearly gave up when the bank hesitated over my loan. You're young, the loan officer had said at the time, eyebrows raised. This is a big number. I know, I'd answered. So is the potential. I'd put everything on the line. Savings, late nights, my entire reputation. If the show flopped or the market tanked, I'd be the punchline, the dreamer who flew too close to the sun. But standing there with the cameras rolling and a city glowing beneath the hill, I realized something. I'd already been their punchline my whole life. Might as well choose my own joke. We wrapped the interior shots by late afternoon and moved outside. The pool glimmered like a sheet of glass. The city below was beginning to blush with the first hints in the evening. Okay, Chris said. We'll do the final segment by the pool, your wrap-up monologue, then some drone shots of you walking along the edge. Don't fall in, Logan called. We don't have the budget for a second blow dry, I smirked. No promises. We rolled again. So today, you've seen what's possible when you don't listen to the safe voices, I said, walking slowly along the pool's edge. The city lights behind me. When you trust your vision, back your own work, and say yes to something that scares you in the best way. For me, this isn't just a property. It's a new chapter. I look straight into the lens. And I can't wait for you to see it with me. Cut. Logan shouted. That's a wrap on exteriors. That last line, perfect. The crew started packing up gear, laughing, trading inside jokes. I slipped off my heels and dangled my feet over the water, feeling the cool stone under my palms. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Brianna. Heard you're doing some house thing on TV now. Mom said you invited them to a condo warming or something. Why didn't you invite me? I stared at her message. Growing up, she was the star, homecoming queen, valedictorian, engaged to a guy with a family law firm. My parents framed her graduation photo in the center of the living room and mine on the side table near the hallway. When I moved out of town to chase design work and production gigs, Brianna told me, "Don't come crying to us when it falls apart. Real life isn't a TV show." Funny thing, my real life had actually become a TV show. You're invited, Bri. I replied, episode airs next Saturday night, Channel 7, 8 p.m. You'll see everything. She read it almost instantly. The typing bubble popped up, then disappeared. No reply. Logan walked over and plopped down beside me, rolling his shoulders. You okay? He asked. I'm fine, I said. He didn't buy it. The family was not impressed, he guessed. I snorted. Understatement of the century. They think this place is a rented shoebox and my job is a phase. My sister's having a big party next weekend. They're all going to that instead of driving here. He frowned. Wait, they don't know this is your house? Nope. They don't know this episode is about you and your estate? Nope. He stared at me like I just confessed to hiding another mansion out back. Ava, when they see this on national TV, they're going to lose their minds. I know, I said quietly. You want us to blur your last name? He joked. No, let them read the credits. I pictured it. My parents are sitting on their sofa in their modest home. Snacks on the table. TV tuned in because our daughter's show is on. Probably bragging a little to their friends. Then the camera would pan out, reveal the house, reveal me, and then reveal the little on-screen text. Designed and owned by Ava Reynolds, the same daughter whose rented condo wasn't worth a 2-hour drive. My chest tightened, but it wasn't painful this time. It was anticipation. Logan, I said, when does promo drop? Tomorrow morning, he replied. Network will post the trailer, your name, the property preview, the whole thing. Why? A slow smile spread across my face. Because I said, I think it's time my family stopped thinking of me as the kid with the risky ideas and started seeing me as something else. He raised an eyebrow. As what? I looked back at the house, its sharp lines, its warm glow, the life I'd carved out for myself when no one believed I could. As the one they underestimated, I said, and I'm done explaining myself. I slid my phone back into my pocket. Let the episode air. Let the calls come. This time I decide whether to pick up. The next morning my phone started buzzing before I'd even opened my eyes. Logan's text came first. It's live. Congrats, TV star. I rolled over, groggy, and opened the link he'd sent. The network's official Instagram page had posted a sleek 30-second trailer. It opened with drone shots sweeping over the estate, the glass panels glinting under sunlight, the infinity pool reflecting the blue sky. The caption reading, "This week on Dream Estates, designer and host Ava Reynolds takes us inside her own $5.2 million masterpiece in Ridgeview Hills." Then my voice came in. They called it impossible. I called it home. My face filled the frame for a second, confident, composed, standing at the glass railing with the skyline behind me, and that's when the real notification started. "Girl, you're trending." My coworker Lena texted the clips everywhere. Even the Morning Light show reposted it. I laughed, rubbing my eyes. Already? Check Twitter. Everyone's saying, "Who is Ava Reynolds?" It was surreal. Less than 12 hours ago, my mom had texted me that she couldn't make it to my condo. Now millions were seeing that Condo featured on national television. By noon, my inbox was flooded. Interview requests, brand offers, sponsorship pitches. My face was on home design blogs and morning news pages, but the text that stopped me cold came from Brianna. "Wow, so that's your rented condo." I stared at the message, the sarcasm heavy enough to cut glass. Then came another. "Mom's been calling everyone since she saw the trailer. She says, it must be a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding. I could picture it. My mom clutching her phone, replaying the video, squinting at the name on the lower third of the screen, designed and owned by Ava Reynolds. Her friends probably asking, "That's your daughter, the one in Lowe's Angels," and she pretended she already knew. I exhaled, half laughing, half shaking. "You didn't know, Mom," I whispered to myself, "because you never asked." By evening, the producer called. "The network wants to add a bonus scene for the finale," Logan said, his tone buzzing with excitement. "A live viewing event from the property itself. They'll bring a small crowd, cameras rolling, all that. You in?" I paused. "When?" "Next weekend." "The same weekend as my sister's engagement party." I smiled slowly. "I'm in." Saturday came faster than I expected. The estate looked even more breathtaking with the lighting crew's touch, soft uplights along the pool, gold accents glowing through the windows. The production team had set up monitors showing the episode as it aired live. People from the network milled around in suits and dresses, champagne glasses in hand. It wasn't just a viewing, it was a celebration. The episode started. There I was on screen, walking through the house, narrating the journey, the failures, the rejections, the fight to get the funding. The audience clapped at every transformation. When the drone shot revealed the house at sunset, my voice-over said, "Sometimes the ones who doubt you the most are the reason you build something unforgettable." Applause filled the air, and right then my phone buzzed again. "Mom," I let it ring once, twice. Then I answered. Her voice trembled. "Ava, we're watching." "Is that really yours?" "Yes, Mom," I said softly, staring at the glowing pool. "It's mine." Silence. Then a quiet sniffle. "Your father's proud." "We both are," I smiled. "I know." After the call ended, I looked up on the screen. My house, my dream, my victory story. They hadn't believed in me, but they were watching now, and that was all the validation I'd ever need. The morning after the episode aired felt unreal. My phone looked like it had survived a storm. Hundreds of notifications, emails, and messages from people I hadn't heard from in years. The first call came from my dad. "Ava," he said, his voice rough like he'd barely slept. "Your mother's been crying all morning." I braced myself. "Crying as in upset or as in proud," he said after a pause. "We watched it twice last night. You did good, kid, real good." The words hit me harder than I expected. My father was an old-school kind of man, one who believed success meant clocking in and clocking out for 40 years. He'd never understood my version of stability. Hearing pride in his voice finally felt like exhaling after years of holding my breath. "Thanks, Dad," I said quietly. "Your mom wants to visit," he added. "She's already packing." I smiled. "Let her. I'll send the address." After I hung up, I leaned back on the couch overlooking the panoramic city view. Sunlight poured through the glass, the reflection of the skyline dancing across the marble floor. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing approval. I was standing in it. Then came Brianna's text. I watched it. Everyone did. "Mom wouldn't stop rewinding the part where you said they called it impossible. Guess that includes us." It wasn't an apology, not really. But for Brianna, that was close enough. I typed back, "We both made it in our own ways, Bri, just different roads." No reply came, but the scene notification was enough. By in the afternoon, the show's view count exploded online. Interviews started lining up. A feature request from Homestyle magazine, then a call from a luxury developer who wanted to collaborate on a new project. When I met Logan for coffee later that day, he slid his phone across the table. "Look," he said, "you're number 2 on the trending search list right below the president." I laughed. "That's insane." "Insane," he smirked. "Try historic. You pulled this off without a trust fund, without a team of investors. You built this from the ground up, Ava. People love that." The barista sat down our drinks, and I noticed a couple of strangers near the counter whispering and glancing at me. One finally approached. "Sorry, are you Ava Reynolds? The designer from Dream Estates?" I nodded and she grinned. That the house was unreal. "My mom cried during your speech." That moment hit me harder than all the online comments. Real people, real impact. When I got back to the estate that night, I stood by the pool again where everything had started. The city lights shimmered, the air soft and warm. I opened my camera app and recorded a short clip for my story. When I started designing this place, everyone thought I was crazy, too young, too ambitious, too unrealistic. But here's the truth. No one knows your limits better than you. Don't wait for people to believe in you. Make them see why they should have. I posted it. Within an hour, it had over 500,000 views. And then one more text appeared from, "Mom, we're on our way, sweetheart. Can't wait to see your home in person." I smiled, whispering to myself, "Not condo home." This wasn't revenge anymore. It was redemption. And this time, they'd be driving 2 hours just to see me. By the time my parents' car rolled up the curved driveway, the sun was melting into the skyline, turning the glass walls of my estate into mirrors of gold. I stood on the front steps, heart pounding, watching their silver SUV slow to a stop. My mother stepped out first, holding a small box of pastries like a peace offering. My dad followed, squinting up at the massive black steel door that towered above them. "This can't be the right address," Mom whispered, her voice trembling. "Ava wouldn't live here." I smiled. "You sure about that, Mom?" She turned, eyes wide. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Dad gave a low whistle. "This place is unreal." "It's mine," I said simply. Their silence stretched, heavy but soft. Then Mom laughed nervously, clutching her purse. "We thought it was a rental. You said you were renting a condo." I shrugged. "I never corrected you." Inside, I guided them through the living area, the open concept, the floating staircase. The kitchen with marble so polished you could see your reflection. Mom ran her hand across the counter like she was touching something sacred. "I saw this exact kitchen on TV," she murmured. "I didn't realize that it was your daughter's." I finished for her gently. She nodded, tears building. "We didn't believe you'd make it this far, Ava. We were scared you'd get hurt chasing a dream." "I know," I said. "But I needed to prove I could stand on my own, and I did." Dad turned to the glass wall overlooking the pool and city lights. "You didn't just stand," he said, his voice proud and rough. "You built an empire," I smiled faintly. "And I did it without asking for help. That's the part that kept me going." We moved outside to the pool deck, where lanterns glowed softly against the water. The crew had left hours ago, leaving the place silent, calm. Mom exhaled shakily. "Your sister's party was nice," she said, avoiding my eyes. "But honestly, halfway through, everyone was talking about your show. The house, the ending line, people were calling us, asking if it was really you." Dad chuckled. "We left early. Your mother couldn't stop replaying the episode in the car." I laughed quietly. "Guess I stole the spotlight after all." Mom's voice softened. "Not stolen, earned." She reached out, touching my hand. "I'm sorry we didn't drive here sooner. You deserved more faith than we gave you." Something warm broke loose inside me. The years of being dismissed. The silence after every small win. It all finally lifted. "I just wanted you to see me," I said, not as the daughter with risky ideas, but as someone who made them real. "You did," Dad said firmly. "And I'm never doubting you again." We stood together as the city lights flickered alive below the hills. For once there was no judgment, no comparison, just quiet pride. Then Mom smiled through her tears. "So when do we get the full tour?" I grinned. "Right now, but fair warning, it's a long walk. You might need a map." Her laughter echoed through the open air, light and free. As I led them down the hallway, I realized this wasn't revenge anymore. It wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about showing them who I'd become. The girl they underestimated had turned her dream into reality. And this time they drove 2 hours, not out of obligation, but out of pride.